Hey guys, what's going on? It's Double Champ News. It's Mike.
It's Dan.
When we get picked on when we were kids, like I feel like kids nowadays are a lot meaner than kids before.
Yeah, I mean we're still pretty mean, or you could be at a young age, but
because before I feel like there's always a limit to what you do and what you don't do.
Well, because now there's a whole nother realm, which is cyberbullying.
Yeah,
it's a whole nother realm.
But I feel like people are more cruel now too for some reason. I don't know if that's just me.
Yeah.
Because you hear about a lot of stuff that's happening nowadays where like kids are really doing harm to other kids. Like back in the day, I mean, if you get mad, like you'll fight.
Yeah.
And then that's it. Like even when you fight, you're not really even fighting. You're like kid fighting.
Yeah, you're not putting a kid in the hospital where he can maybe die. As in this case right here. I mean, this is a really scary moment, and these are pretty graphic images. I mean, they're not super graphic, but they're disturbing for sure. And what happened here in China was there's a 10-year-old boy named Liu Xingze, and he was rushed to the hospital after his family saw that he was vomiting black substances in their home after dinner. Right. So he came back from school. Yeah. He's like, maybe he wasn't feeling so good, and he was vomiting. You could see it right here. There's like black things. And what are they?
Graphites. And they were like, why do you have this? And he was like, yeah, I was hungry. So I swallowed it. Right.
Okay, so the parents was like, okay, whatever, let's get him to a hospital. He had a 3-hour operation where that he was having his stomach pumped, and oh my gosh, they were saying it was so bad. Literally, like there's so much black. Yeah. His stomach acid was black. Acid.
So what happened was in school there were 2 girls that were picking on him. Yeah. And they were forcing him to eat pencil lead.
Yeah. He revealed this later. Yeah. After they coaxed it out of him. I mean, what is going on in this world? I mean, and they said he's always been very shy. Yeah. You know, so of course he's an easy target in this case.
And most kids are shy in China. I feel like Asian kids in general are pretty shy, but I mean nowadays it's even like broken the mold of like, okay, it's not even just bigger. When you think of a bully, what do you think about? You think about a bigger kid, typically a guy. Right. Now it's like anybody can be bullying anybody. People. Like you hear it so much. I mean, it's always sad to hear. Like every time I look in the news, it's always like, yeah, 14-year-old girl killed herself after she was bullied online. 14-year-old boy killed himself because of this, because of that. Mm-hmm. Little boy forced to eat pencil lead because he was bullied.
I mean, luckily nowadays there's no actual poisonous lead content. Right. But it doesn't make it any better. But luckily, you know, he didn't die from this, and he could have if they didn't go to the hospital. I mean, he was vomiting really violently. I mean, something much worse could have happened. They found the pieces were still hard in this bucket. I mean, that says it. I mean, that if I saw my kid vomit that up, I'd be like, I would think that he got like bit by a poisonous snake and he's vomiting like black bile or something. I don't know what causes you to vomit that, but I'd be like, dude, what happened to you, man? I would never think that he swallowed 8 lead pencils.
What are you doing when you're going up to a kid and you're like, hey, swallow this lead? Like, what is going through your head? I mean, this is what I hate. Like, bullying itself on its own, it's just horrible. I just don't understand, like nowadays, how could it even get worse? Like, when I was a kid, yeah, I got bullied, but it wasn't nearly to the extent of this. Like to the extent of people like killing themselves, to the extent of people having to swallow lead because they were being pushed over the edge here.
Right, and for the boy to just keep, I mean, he hit it even when he threw this up.
Yeah,
I mean,
if scared.
He's terrified because maybe they're gonna go make him eat something else or whatever.
Or beat him up or whatever.
And I mean, this is horrific. Like, look at if that is his black stomach acid. I mean, I'm like suing the parents of these 2 girls. You know, and luckily his parents have reported this to the police. We don't know what's going on.
Well, nothing's gonna happen really because there's kids don't really get in trouble in China. No. Like we even heard about like this young shoplifter who's basically like, yeah, hey, just go back to your parents and let them teach you better.
Yeah, let them deal with it or something like that.
So obviously, really, really horrendous what happened here, and again with all bullying, like we're gonna definitely do a video like that talks more about bullying and how crazy and how insane it has gotten today. Right. I mean, I can't imagine like killing yourself because you're bullied so much. Right. Like one thing I'll leave you guys with is that I was bullied. I'm sure you were bullied. I don't know to what extent, but it might really seem like there's no hope but like you feel like when you're 14, 15, your life, like that's your life. High school is your
That's
life.
all you know at that point.
Your social status, or maybe like if you feel so humiliated. Guys, I drove, my first car was my dad's beat up station wagon that you could hear from a mile away because it starts squeaking as soon as you pump the brakes. And one side is literally just caved in because someone hit it. And I drove that to school every day. Like, I'll tell you this, whatever you deal with in high school, after you leave high school or college, whatever, after you leave that environment, you can look back and be like, that's nothing.
Yeah. I mean, first day I moved into my neighborhood, I got kicked by 2 kids that didn't know who I was. 2 kids just kicked me on the street because I was Chinese. Like I was 9 years old, and I had to see them again in high school, and I was kind of afraid that they were gonna bully me some more. So I steered clear of them. But like you said, like after high school, I've never seen these kids ever again after that.
And you know, nobody remembers, like people who still, when you're like 20 something, 30, and you're still reminiscing about high school, then you're the loser. I mean, like seriously, like no one talks about like high school. No one's gonna remember like what happened. No one's gonna. The bullies are not gonna be bullies forever to you.
I mean, it's nice to share some memories. Like if you have some high school friends and then you guys are reminiscing. It's another thing to be like, those were the best days of my life.
So don't ever see it as a life and death thing.
Exactly.
You feel like you can't go on because something that happened. I know it's horrible. And people who bully people should know that that's the extent that they're making their victims feel. But guys, once you get past it, it's gonna be okay. It will get better, promise you. So horrible story, but you know, luckily they found out what happened here, so it didn't continue to go on. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. See you
later.